Do we love this or what? We love it. You know, this is like a support group. We get together every year. We get energized. We get empowered. We get inspired. We listen to great speakers because, you know, we leave here and we go back to our communities and we are bombarded by the left, by the crazies, by Antifa, by people calling us names, our friends who think we lost our minds, you know, because we talk the way we do. I do not know about how many of you are looking forward to Thanksgiving this year. But I know a lot of families have literally been broken apart because of the political climate in our nation. And it is so sad that we got to this point in our country right now, that actually families have to argue together over our politics. How far we have come from September 11th, 2001. Remember that day when we were attacked? When we all were together as one. We were not Democrats. We were not Republicans. We were not independent. We were not libertarians. We were Americans, united by our patriotism and our love for this nation. We came together that day. Who can forget the image of our elected officials standing on the steps of the Capitol singing "God Bless America"? Democrats and Republicans. How far we have come from that day. Today, families are torn apart. Families are arguing with each other over politics. Our elected officials are at each other's throat. How far we have come. I couldn't wait to get here today. When they invited me and they asked me to speak at Values Voters Summit, I have to tell you, this is the one event a year I look forward to because I know the amazing patriots I'm going to be speaking to. I know the amazing patriots I'm going to be with. This is the place where we can speak our mind, where we can speak the truth without the shackles of political correctness. Where we don't give a flying kite what anybody else thinks of us. We like each other. And we love our country. And this is exactly the attitude that we need to go back to. This is exactly the attitude we need to have in our hearts right now. Don't care what people say about us when we stand up for America. America is being transformed before our very eyes. The flag that once flew on every street corner in the United States is now considered a hate symbol on college campuses. Athletes who used to stand up with tears of pride during the national anthem are now kneeling in protest. Patriotism is seen as hateful. Freedom of speech is being eliminated by the tyranny of tolerance. And our police are being killed and murdered by thugs and criminals while the mainstream media victimizes their killers. This is exactly why I wrote my book, Rise, Rise in Defense of Judeo-Christian Values and Freedom. Because, my friends, our Judeo-Christian values are under assault. Christmas is under assault. While our students in our public schools cannot stand up and speak of or defend our Judeo-Christian values or even recite the national anthem, because you can't say that or the Pledge of Allegiance in schools anymore. Right now, they are being indoctrinated into Islamic propaganda inside the classroom. This is exactly why we need to come together and network together and learn from each other. You need to understand that we are at war. And we are at war against the radical leftist element in our country that has declared war on us. And while we sit around and we wonder, what happened to our country? How come we are losing our country? I'm sure a lot of you do the same thing. We shake our heads when we watch things on television, and we think to ourselves, when we watch Antifa stopping roads and blocking roads, and we think to ourselves, how did we get to this point? How did we go from George Washington and the story of the cherry tree, and I shall never tell a lie, to Antifa thugs who are born and raised in our country, educated in our public schools, paid for by our tax dollars, who believe they can kill, they can lie, they can cheat, they show up to rallies with brass knuckles and knives, they can harm people, they can destroy property, and it's okay. How did we get to that point? We got to that point because while the left was organizing, we were shaking our heads and not paying attention or thinking in disbelief, well, they can't get away with it. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe they're doing that. But people ask me all the time, how did we get to that point, Brigitte? We got to that point because of the indoctrination happening in our public schools and our private schools for years, for decades. For decades. In my book, Rise, I have a whole chapter titled Operation Indoctrination, because the left has had an Operation Indoctrination while we were not paying attention. One of the books I discuss in my chapter is Howard Zinn's book, The People's History of the United States. The People's History of the United States, the sole purpose of the book, the whole theme of the book, is that America is an evil empire founded by white supremacists and for the persecution, oppression, and the genocide of minorities. So when you have children in public schools learning this type of garbage, how do you expect them to grow up and defend the freedom that this country gives them and defend this country? Howard Zinn's book has sold over 2 million copies since it was published, and it is required reading by high school and college kids. It is so famous in our country that Matt Damon, in his movie, the Hollywood blockbuster Good Will Hunting, talks about the book in the movie, and he said about Howard Zinn's book that it's a history book worth reading. Matt Damon, that people look up to. Everybody on the left knew exactly what they were doing, except we did not know what was going on. You see, Hitler made a very important statement. Hitler said, "Give me the children, and I will change society in 10 years." And that's exactly what he did. You see, our people, our kids used to come home from school 20, 30 years ago. They're studying. Mommy and daddy are in the kitchen. They're preparing dinner after work. The mommy asks the child, "Johnny, did you finish your homework?" "Yes, Mom, I just finished my homework." "Good, now you can go outside and play." The parents cared about the children finishing their homework because they based their idea of what homework is based on what we were studying when we were children. This is not the situation the way it is today. Right now in public schools, while we cannot sing Christmas hymns, while we cannot even say Christmas holiday, we call it winter break. We cannot say Easter holiday, we call it spring break. Our students are studying Islam in public schools, courses where they are learning about how to become a Muslim, Islamic indoctrination, how to recite and memorize verses from the Quran, say the Shahada, the Islamic prayer, conversion to Islam, fast for one day to experience what it's like to be a Muslim on Ramadan, and go to a mosque on a field trip. All paid for by our tax dollars. Do you think any pastor can walk into any classroom and say, "Okay, you all, I want you to adopt Christian names like Michael and Sarah. I want you to memorize and recite verses from the Bible, and then we're going to go on a field trip to a church on Sunday so you can experience what it's like to be a Christian"? What would happen to the pastor? What would happen to any teacher? The ACLU will be screaming to high heaven. But that's exactly what is happening in our classrooms right now. That's exactly how we end up with a generation in America who is completely brainwashed, who is more sympathetic with our enemies than they are sympathetic with the American public and our cause. This is exactly how we go from George Washington and the story of the cherry tree, and I shall never tell a lie, to thugs like Antifa right now, which I believe should be designated as a terrorist organization. We have people in this country complaining about America, finding every ill in America. They cannot see anything good in America. They complain about everything we have in this country. Let me tell you something. I come from overseas. I was not raised in America. But last time I checked, since I came to America, America is the greatest nation on the face of the planet. And those who are complaining about America, apologizing for America, want to bring America down to have it as par with the rest of the world, we tell them we'll give them a one-way ticket to get the heck out of this country and back to whatever country of their choice. And leave this country to us. Right now, what we are seeing, the country is so divided that we have the leftists and the Islamists working together against America. In my book, Rise, I have a chapter titled The Leftist Islamist Coalition, where I talk about how right now the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We are seeing the ACLU basically work as the legal arm of CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, a designated terror group, an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terrorism financing trial in the history of the United States, yet they're coming together and working together. We are seeing Planned Parenthood work with and fund the likes of Linda Sarsour, the co-chair of the women's movement in the United States. Remember the Women's March that they went on Capitol Hill with the colorful hats after President Obama became president? Right now we are seeing a storm gathering where our enemies, the SPLC, the ACLU, the MoveOn.org, Indivisible, and those types of organizations are teaming up with the Islamists, working together, and all being funded by the likes of George Soros against us. You have to understand that we are at war, a war declared on us by the radical left, and we must fight to win this war. While we are, thank you. You can clap on winning. While we sit around the table with each other and we talk about, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how organized the left is. By the way, how many of you have heard of the word Indivisible, of the group Indivisible? Raise your hands. Okay, I want you to look around the room. Those who know what Indivisible is, keep your hands raised. And I want everybody else to look around the room. Okay, Indivisible is the leftist organized arm of the Democratic Party, of the left. It's only one organization out of 85. Indivisible has 6,000 groups operating nationwide. 6,000. Well, our people show up a meeting like this, a conference once a year. They are beating the drums in their neighborhoods. They're knocking on their neighborhoods. When you leave here today, I want you to type in your zip code in Google, type in your zip code and type in Indivisible and see what's happening in your backyard that you're not aware of. And here is the problem on our side. On our side, people are educated. People understand the situation, but they do not know what to do. They do not know that we are at war. The left on the other side is extremely organized. They are organized, they are mobilized, they know exactly what to do, they can show up and block bridges, they can show up and block highways, yet you ask any 22-year-old socialist nitwit about socialism, tell me about socialism. You want socialism in America? Tell me. They cannot even tell you what socialism is, yet they are organized. On our side, you sitting here today are more informed than 95% of the American public because you listen to news. You want to do something to make a difference for the country, but you do not know what to do. In my book, Rise, I not only lay out the problems, but at the end of every chapter, I have a section titled Rise Up and Act. 3 things you can do under 10 minutes that will make a difference for the country. And you can do them while you're sipping your cup of coffee in the morning in your pajamas sitting in front of your computer. That's activism. A lot of things happen between voting every 2 years. Let me give you an example about activism on the left side and activism on our side. We, conservatives, Republicans, American-loving patriots who love this country, will be watching television. And we'll see some program on television that we don't like. And we go, oh my God, I cannot believe they're talking like this. And we change the channel. Here's how a leftist watches television. A lefty is watching TV. They see a program they don't like. They double down. Oh my God, I'm going to watch this thing because I'm going to see what they're talking about. They watch that thing. Then they text 5 of their friends. Sally, tune into channel 27. You've got to watch this garbage on television. Sally turns on to channel 27 to watch whatever garbage is being aired that they don't agree with. At the end of the program, the guy contacts all his friends, his 5 friends. Can you believe this? Let's meet tomorrow at Starbucks and discuss a strategy. They get together the next day. They discuss all the advertisers that advertised in the program. They say, okay, we're launching a boycott. The Republicans switch the channel. The Democrats are organizing a boycott. This is called activism. This is called activism every single day, not just when you vote every 2 years. It's important to vote. Every single one of us needs to go out and vote. But it's important to know that we are active and we are fighting to win. I named my organization Act for America. A lot of you know that I'm the president of Act for America. ActForAmerica.org. We are the largest national security organization in the country with 1 million members. We have helped pass 100 bills on the federal level as well as the state level to secure America. I hope we named the organization Act for America. Not think about America, not pray for America, not hope for America, not wish for America. But we named the organization what? Act for America. Why? Because without action, nothing happens. Thank you. As much as Indivisible has 6,000 groups nationwide, we need more of you active and engaged. Not just listening to information, not just reading books to get information. You need to be active. You need to be plugged in. If you are a member of a church, we need an Act for America chapter in your church. Join us. Sign up to lead a chapter. If you are a member of a Bible study, sign up your Bible study, and we need an Act for America chapter in your Bible study. We need to mobilize the nation to stand together, and we need to fight to win. And you know why we need to fight to win? Because our enemy is fighting to win. We are fighting to reason with each other. We are fighting to play nice and speak some sense into our enemy. Maybe we can win them to our side. You need to understand they are fighting you to win. And unless you have a winning attitude, nothing is going to change. You need to fight to win. And you need to never, ever, ever give up. Take a lesson from the greatest winner in our nation right now, President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump ran for the presidency of the United States, and he fought to win because he knew he was at war. And in order for him to win, he had to defeat 16 contenders. Not be nice to them, not talk to them, defeat 16 contenders in order to win the nomination. And when he won the nomination, he had to defeat crooked Hillary and every other name he labored on everybody. He fought to win, and that's exactly the winning attitude every single one of us need to have. We are at war, and we need to rise in defense of our nation. Rise like our founding fathers rose. Rise like our founding fathers rose and beat the mighty British Empire so we can have the greatest nation on earth today. Rise like we rose before and defeated communism and socialism and fascism. We did it then, and we can do it now. You see what sets America different than anybody else in the world is the American spirit. It is that exact American spirit that needs to rise again, and needs to rise to defeat our enemies, to take back our country, to instill pride in our nation, to instill pride in our youth of their nation, to let them understand that America is the greatest nation on the face of the planet. English is our official language, and it shall remain so. And we only take people into our country who are willing to assimilate, love our country, uphold our laws, uphold our Constitution. And I cannot end my speech without asking every veteran and military person in the audience to please stand up and be recognized. Every single military person and a veteran in the audience, and please remain standing. Thank you. And I am wrapping up. My time is up. The light is flashing. I'm wrapping up. But I want you to stand up because I have a quick thank you for you. All our veterans and our military personnel, every single person that stood up, please stand up again. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for building a nation for me where I can come and be all I can be as a citizen. I want to thank you for my freedom. I want to thank you for every freedom I have. My freedom of speech, my freedom of religion, my freedom of expression, and every other freedom. I know that my freedom is built upon your shoulders and your sacrifice. I want to thank you for every meal you missed, for every holiday you missed, for every occasion you missed, so we can sit down and enjoy our freedom, which you were serving so we can enjoy. And I vow to you that I am building an organization with Act for America that will always honor you, always praise you, always teach our new generation where the freedom comes from. May God bless you one and all, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you for giving me your time. I love you. Thank you.